BBC later than planned. Jonathan, the stage is yours.
Take that, David Blaine. 9 minutes. Well, hello and welcome to Friday Night with Jonathan Ross. And can I just say, well done to Theo Walcott. He's going to go to the World Cup at the age of just 17. Isn't that incredible? Apparently he's got 2 good feet, presumably one for Rooney and one for Owen. They just want him for the spare parts, that's what it is. But Theo's got everything, including a young, beautiful girlfriend. She's called Mel, or as the other footballers' wives have already dubbed her, Bitch Features. Talking of Theo Walcott, may I introduce the men who regularly call up a 17-year-old and offer him the chance to get his hands on the big one. It is... It's my house band, 4 puffs and a piano, ladies and gentlemen.
I fell in love with you, you're in love with me, but dreaming's all I do. If only they come true, I should be so lucky, 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 lucky. I should be so lucky in love.
Marvellous. I think it's music. Shall we have a look and see who is in the green room for your delectation this evening? Why don't we? First up, we have Hollywood A-lister, one of the most beautiful and talented actresses currently lighting up the silver screen. It is, of course, the beautiful Uma Thurman. Ladies and gentlemen, there she is, Uma. Good evening, Uma.
Good evening.
Ah, you look gorgeous as always. Uma Thurman, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, she's back, and this time she wants the interview to be longer, harder, and more about her. Next up, we have a fine young comedian. It's Mr. Russell Brand. There he is. Whoa! Look at that. That's a look, Russell.
Yes, that's my physical appearance.
Look at that, what a look. That's a lot of hair, isn't it? That's a lot of hair.
It's sort of just enough. Uma, it's drawn Uma in for a kick-off.
Yeah. She's looking for Easter eggs, that's what she's doing.
She may find some. There's all manner of stuff in here.
And next up, we have the grand dame of British theatre. Oh, what a night. It is Sir Ian McKellen, ladies and gentlemen. Sir Ian McKellen, God bless you, sir. Looking youthful and trim as ever.
Thank you very much indeed.
Ian's back on the show, and this time he wants the interview to be less about him, but longer and harder. And that's not all. We have some music from Graham Coxon. Graham Coxon, ladies and gentlemen. Evening, Graham. How are you, Graham? Nice to have you here. I think that's Graham. It's either Graham or the bloke who's come to fix our broadband. I'm not sure. Now, it was the BAFTAs this week, ladies and gentlemen, and you may think that the prize that everyone's after when they go to the BAFTAs is a BAFTA itself. You know, everyone turns up. If you're nominated, if you're lucky enough to be nominated, you think, I might win the BAFTA, and you might think that's the big deal. But no, not really. You'd be wrong if you thought that, because the reason everyone goes to the BAFTAs is because you are given, that's right, you're given, if you get nominated, one of these. Look at this. Not just a box either. There's stuff in the box as well. I mean, the box is good. Inside, it's full of gifts. Shall we open up? Would you like to see what's inside? This is what you get when you're nominated for a BAFTA, right? Okay. You get hair products. Okay. There was a leaflet in there for a free stay at a health spa. A leaflet for a free DVD player. Right. Makeup. Nice scarf. Right. And a handbag. Now, what message is this sending out, do you think? This is like a starter kit, isn't it? Sir Ian was straight till he went to a BAFTA for the first time, weren't you? Nothing wrong with it, it's working. All right, put that away. Don't want to lose that. That's Noel's. I lifted it from under the table and he wasn't looking. Time to bring out my first guest. She is probably the sexiest woman we've ever had on the show. I don't mean to offend all the others, but come on, face facts. It's Uma Thurman!
She's a lady. Whoa, she's a lady. Talking about a little lady. And the lady is mine.
Uma Thurman, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, come on.
So, Doctor.
Helicopter in, come on. How are you, Uma? You look gorgeous.
Thank you. You look rather well yourself.
God bless
Snappy,
you. Now,
irreverent.
you flew in a couple of days ago, here back to the UK?
I did, yeah.
And when someone's on the show, someone from the show will often phone them in advance to chat to them and find out what's going on in their life, catch up. And when someone from the show phoned you, you were in Hamley's toy shop.
I was, gutting Hamleys.
Now, you were there for, presumably, to buy stuff for your kids, were you?
Yes.
Okay, what did you get?
Lego.
Lego?
I got lots of Lego. I got some, what else did I get? I got these adorable little houses that this little electronic character lives in.
Yep.
And if that isn't cute enough, they tell you if you buy two, it has a friend. Then you can get them a car. Very, very gauche.
I think I have those. There's a little electric man who dances around.
You go, hi, yeah, and then they give you attitude. You push buttons and they're rude to you.
Well, just like kids in real life.
Just like all of us, really.
How old are your children?
I have two.
How old are they?
4 and 7.
No, they're lovely ages.
They are.
Because they're not old enough really to be able to argue with you too much.
No, they're perfect. They're virtually perfect.
Okay. Are you worried about them growing up? Do you have kind of plans for them? Do you know what they should do or what you'd like them to do?
They promise me regularly that they're not going to go bad.
Okay. Well, so you're already telling them they should watch out for themselves.
No, I do. I sit with my daughter because she loves like teenage shows. Of course, she's
Yeah.
7. She's very smart. I sit there and I go, oh, look at that awful, awful, horrible brat-like teenage behavior. Isn't that disgusting the way that girl talked to her mother? Yeah, Mom.
You see, they're smart enough to know what you're doing.
Of course.
Yeah, yeah. But that's a lovely thing, isn't it? Do you think you'll have any more?
No, I don't think so.
So 7, that's enough for you, 2 of them.
Unless I go purchase some or beg for some or
You could, yeah, you could.
see if anyone will lend me one. We'll see.
You can have them up to about 65 these days.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. If you go abroad, apparently, it's some sort of a package
You
store.
can carry them in your grandchildren.
No, you drive and they inject you with stuff, and then a man also joins in, and the next thing you know, you come back and you're 65 and you're pregnant again.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? That's exciting.
Yeah.
I always feel like it's over, but you're really letting me know that there's a lot of land left to run.
Okay, I didn't mean to imply anything there. Okay. Last time we had Uma on the show, she was here because she was opening in a big new movie, of course, directed by Quentin Tarantino. It was
Yes.
Kill Bill. Fantastic film.
Thank you.
Number 2 enjoyed it as much as well. What a great couple of movies. Now, it's a real partnership you have with him. I know you've made several films with him, and they've all been terrific. He must be one of your favourite directors to work with, I guess.
He is, yeah. He's about to start another movie right now.
With you in it?
No. It's called Death Proof,
Okay.
and he's just getting started on that in Texas.
And so presumably you keep in touch. You're pretty friendly with him.
Yeah, I just spent the weekend with him, actually.
How nice.
Yeah.
And will you work with him again?
Oh, I don't know. Who knows? We'll see.
He hasn't asked you, you mean?
We told, you know, I don't know. There's nothing on the desk.
How does it work if you're friends with someone who's a great director and you've worked and you like it and you know they're doing a new movie? You kind of wait. Do you get it out the way early and say, is there a part for me in this? Tell me now, put me out my misery?
No, you know, actually, I think, first of all, we even joked about this the other day. Our work together has been so kind of complete that you never really get left sort of, you know, itching for more, if you know what I mean. He can go tussle up with some other chicks
With some
for a
other
while.
people. But, you know, if he came your way again, you certainly wouldn't say no, would you?
Probably not. I know him. He's very smart. He'll wait until I've really forgotten how painful it can be.
Oh, really? So it's hard work. Hey, do you prefer doing that kind of movie, though? Because I know you're acting all the time, but if you're doing a movie which involves kicking, fighting, running, jumping,
Yeah.
punching,
Yeah.
that must be easier sometimes doing a day like that than when you have to do the emotional stuff.
Not if you're me.
No?
No, not
Tough
if you're
as well.
me. The kicking and the fighting and that was really hard to figure out. Although now I think I could probably do it, you know, with my eyes closed.
Yeah, but that must be great to sort of learn a skill like that as well.
You know, it really was great in that I think, you know, as I am a very tall and gangly sort of person, and so I was always a bit physically, insecure. I was not good at sports or anything, and they sort of Lindsay Wagnered me. Quinn and I actually were just joking about this. They really rebuilt me. Like
Bionic Woman.
Yeah, I ended up feeling so much more confident in myself after sort of having to truly, at my mature age, learned from the very beginning sort of how to do things
But
entirely.
I bet you there must be people at home, and we all feel the same way. I guess we all have insecurities. But when you say you felt insecure about yourself, that seems almost impossible. It seems ridiculous.
Well, I mean, like trip and hit the floor with your face. Like you have reasons.
So
You're
you
a klutz, you know, like
You were a gangly, clumsy kid.
yeah, big feet, too tall, just not like one of those really coordinated, together, you know what I'm saying.
When did you sprout?
From the very beginning, it was relentless from birth.
So you were pretty tall. How tall were you when you were about, say, 4 or 5?
I don't know, but
Were you this
I
height
bet you I
then,
was
or-
close to 5 feet by the time.
5
No,
feet?
I'm kidding.
I would like to see that.
I'm sure I was pretty tall.
Are your children tall?
I can't tell. They seem fine. They're not particularly larger than anyone else, so it's okay.
They suddenly shoot up as well.
I don't know. Maybe they're going to be a little more normal. It's going to be fine.
Okay. Let's talk about the new film, because
Yes.
your new movie, Prime, is out today.
Yes.
Now, if I was to call it a chick flick, would that be fair, or would you consider that dismissive?
A chick flick. Yeah, well, no, I like chicks, so chicks should have flicks. I
Yeah.
think chick flick joke is just it's meant to demean a movie, and it's meant to sort of chauvinistically embarrass the males who might like it.
But I suppose it sounds kind of like this is a movie which is its lowest common denominator just for women when you say that. Would that
But
be?
funnily enough, most men that I get, most men who comment on the movie to me
Yeah.
all love the movie.
But this is slightly smarter than the average one, isn't it? I mean, it's actually more about kind of like, real people than... It's not the kind of gimmicky comedy stuff.
Well, actually, it's exactly the kind of movie that I really like the most. It's got real dialogue. They're real people with kind of basically semi-normal issues. And my character has been through a long, unsuccessful relationship, and is very down on herself as I started out in a therapist's office,
Yeah.
actually I think sitting upright, and my therapist is Meryl Streep, and who's fantastic in the movie, but with one issue. She's been encouraging me to have a fabulous time getting out with this young guy, and I've been telling her all about it, like you do, or if in America we do, tell
So
too
she's
much
really
to
been
these therapists.
Now, and your character is how old?
37.
And he is the young man you're seeing?
23.
Wow, so that's quite a big gap, 14 years.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a gap. So, anyway, yes, he has no body fat. And lots of biceps. So anyway, she's been encouraging me to have a great time with us until, unfortunately, she's figured out that it's her son.
So you've been telling the therapist lady every single detail.
Oh, every naughty, nasty nook of it.
And she goes into quite specific detail about the size of his anatomy,
Yes,
what he does with it.
his penis.
Christ. It's so long since I've heard you say that to me. Let's have a look at the clip.
We have had sex on every surface of my apartment. I mean, I haven't had much sleep, but he's just so eager to please me, and I feel the same way about him. He makes me want to do things
I understand.
that I've never wanted to do before.
I got it.
I mean, he's so uninhibited, just happy to learn. He hasn't had much experience. He's only been with 2 other women.
What? He's had sex with 2 other women?
Yes, and can you believe that's it? Now I know why men go after younger women. There's something to it. And his youth, his body, his naivete, and just his damn eagerness. I mean, oh, isn't this great?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay, let's talk about working with Meryl Streep, because she is just one of the, well, she's one of the, acknowledged as one of the greatest screen actresses.
She's the.
Yeah. And how is that? Is it intimidating, daunting in any way when you're working with someone like that?
I didn't sleep much the first night. I'd met her before. She's a fantastic person. I'm sure you've had her on the show.
I've met her. She seems very open and very warm.
Totally funny and down to earth, and just if you work with an actress like her, it makes it all the easier. It's like being a fish and breathing water. It's just perfect.
She's just a lovely presence in the movie, and you get the feeling that the two of you enjoyed working together as well. I mean,
So
the
much.
relationship feels very real in the film there. It's kind of a weird movie in that there are certain echoes with your own life, of course, because she's the mother of your boyfriend in this film. She's a therapist, but your mother was a therapist.
I've been
wasn't she?
sleeping with lots of people's young sons.
For-
I didn't think anyone knew that. I can't believe he's outing me like this on live television.
Don't boast about it. Have you slept with a considerably younger man ever?
No.
Okay. Now, do you have therapy yourself? Have you had therapy throughout your life?
I've started it up again. I've had it before in my life, yeah.
Yeah, and it works for you? It helps you?
It certainly makes me feel less guilty about boring my very few friends. I have so few friends, and I want to hang on to them.
So you get it out in that way rather than chat?
Yeah, the really, really like awful, like rag-wringing conversations that are just so tedious, and I seem to have such slow progress as a human being. Those really I have to keep away from the friends I don't want to lose.
But that's really good of you. It's really kind of like, you know, thoughtful of you.
Compassionate, isn't it?
Yeah, man, not to bore people, because let's face it, when you ask your friends how you're doing, really you want them to say fine, and then you move on.
And then talk about like the game.
Yeah, you
or
don't
what
want someone
wear.
to say, well, he didn't phone again. It's like, off. For
Jeez.
God's sake.
You know, it's compassionate narcissism.
Yeah, who really wants to talk about feelings to each other? But I get the feeling, and this might be just a terrible generalisation, but I get the feeling that women are generally pretty much better at that than men anyway.
At talking about their feelings.
Yeah, and I thought they enjoyed that. Do you
Or it's just
enjoy
that we're smarter.
Yeah, I don't think so. Well, you know, a matter of fact, I know so, but... So, now, you're in a relationship right now. You seem pretty solid. You're with this guy...
His name's Andre.
Andre, and this is going great for you, I'm pleased to say? How nice. But I'm curious as to how it would be someone going on a first date with you. Because I
Me
would
too.
have thought, yeah, but it must be...
Sounds dreadful.
Is it weird when people come... I mean, do they normally react as if they know you, or is it...
That's why I don't think I could ever be single. Can you imagine how awful that would be?
To date someone who's that well known?
Yeah, and it'd be embarrassing for them, embarrassing for me. Nobody would even ask you out in the first place.
So when you were back on the market, so to speak, I know that perhaps sounds a little bit bold, but did you find it hard finding people? Was it a strange period getting back into the dating mode?
I didn't really get there. I was basically having a nervous breakdown, and one nice man walked up to me. I was like, I'll stay with you, thank you.
So I imagine it wasn't a long wait before a nice man walked up to you, Uma.
It wasn't too long.
Yeah, yeah. And it's working okay?
Everything's working okay.
See, that sort of defies the way normally you would think...
Conventional wisdom, I know. I wake up with nightmares about how anything that defies conventional wisdom should give you anxiety, and anxiety is my friend.
Yeah.
Yes.
And yet it's working great.
The anxiety?
No.
The relationship.
The relationship.
Both.
I'm really pleased for you. Okay, so now what's it say here about a music career? Is this true, or is this one of those
This is
things?
nonsense, but I love it.
Because I heard that
Cutting
Uma
an
was
album?
about to make an album, which, you know...
Do you know what I heard that was even better? I heard that not only was I cutting an album, but I wanted to do it on my own terms. I felt like, oh yeah, girlfriend.
What?
Thank you. Whoever came with
That didn't look like that. That was more like you've got a
Bring
stitch
it.
from running too
Bring
much
it.
or something. That wasn't. You've got to do the full pot stirring if
Bring
you want to
it,
do that.
Columbia Records.
But would you, is now that the rumour's out, would someone offer you?
Hey, you know, rumor before reality. That's not such a surprising
Yeah.
thing for people who revel in the troughs of celebrity despicable fantasy land.
That was one hell of a sentence. I don't know what it meant, but that was a great sentence, wasn't it?
I have a very convoluted way around words. I'm sorry.
Now, but you know, I heard you singing, and I assume it was your voice in the recent remake of The Producers.
Yeah,
And I thought you did a great job, so I can
Thank you.
imagine maybe that's where the rumour started.
Maybe someone will have me record Broadway show tunes.
Well, I would like to hear that. Uma, before you go, you've got Prime out now. Good luck with that. I'm sure it'll be a hit, and I hope so.
I hope so.
For you. But your first big movie I remember seeing you in was Dangerous Liaison.
Oh dear, what clip are you showing?
No, but it was a wonderful film, and you know what? You can't beat a lady in a corset.
Yes, you can, with a stick.
Yeah. He says,
Don't get me started.
she likes to be spanked. Uma, we're going to let you go. We'll have a little look at you in Dangerous Liaisons, because you can't beat a girl in a corset unless it's consensual. Uma, how lovely to have you here again. Thank you so much for coming. Good luck with Prime. Uma Thurman, ladies and gentlemen.
Quick, your mother.
What are you doing? I just came in to fetch your shawl.
you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Uma Thurman. Thank you, Uma. That was lovely. Thank you so much. Take care. Good luck with the movie.
Thank you.
Uma Thurman. What a lovely woman, isn't she? Now, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, I have a thick, lustrous mane of hair that is the envy of men, women and lions up and down the country. I have to be trimmed and coiffed and sprayed and tonged on an almost hourly basis. But if I were to suffer from what is technically known as a touch of the Eltons, like this, for example, well... well, I would try a number of remedies. Perhaps I would shave it all off, give you that look. OK, that might work. Or perhaps a classic 70s comb-over might suit me. That's a kind of look for the older gentleman who's thinning. I doubt, however, that I would opt for the coping mechanism chosen by Lib Dem MP Mark Oaten, all right? Because although married and in no way a gay man, Mark chose to cope with the onset of slap-headery by heading for Soho and engaging in certain acts with rent boys. Of course, Mark, a word of advice, next time you're feeling a bit bored, just buy a hat. Not necessarily that one. I mean, obviously, that's... but that suits him. I think he looks more dashing. Time now for my next guest. He is one of the most exciting new names in stand-up comedy. He first came to my attention in last year's Big Brother's Big Mouth. Have a look at this.
George, look at him avoiding
Yuri, let
this.
George have a little go.
Okay.
And if there's... Go on. Sorry, George.
Well,
What did you want to say in response to sort of all of this?
Pete's brilliance is that he can explode, find the words, find the target, and then kiss the target he's just attacked and move on. That's his brilliance.
You are a politician, yeah? You represent this country, yeah? For you to sit back and let Pete bully other people in the house,
He's like Tracy that time.
He is bullying you, he is bullying you, but at the same time...
for yourself. If you cannot stand up for yourself, you deserve to get torn down.
That's the whole point of Parliament, is people stand up. All right, stop it. I will resort to violence. This is not a democracy. This is like Iraq in the good old days, a dictatorship. Shut up. I have got Peter Stringfellow on the phone.
Please welcome Russell Brand, ladies and gentlemen. That was quite alarming when you loomed round there, because you've got a very distinctive look about you, Russell. It was a bit like a dream.
I don't reckon I loomed, I meandered.
You meandered. There's a little bit of looming involved, if you don't mind me saying so.
I deliberately timed that walk, Jonathan, so there'd be nothing startling about it.
OK, well, I think you can't help but being a bit startling.
Do you think so?
Well, you've got a startling look about you. It's a great look. I'll be honest with you. If I thought I could get away with that, I would be there with you.
Yeah.
All right? You've got a kind of... What is that look? It's kind of like Max Wall meets Pete Doherty via Lily Savage.
Nice. Sounds like a wonderful evening.
With a little bit of Keith Richards thrown in for good measure. Do you have a stylist, or do you do this yourself?
I do have a stylist. She's called Sharon. She's excellent. But I think I look like a Dickensian gent, or perhaps an S&M Willy Wonka.
I've got a golden ticket. Hey.
Why stop at golden tickets, Jonathan, when we live in a world with showers?
I don't even understand that. Do you buy your own clothes, or are they bought for you by the show? Or I'm assuming you go out shopping like a regular person.
I go out shopping, eh?
But are those trousers? Are they ladies' trousers?
They are ladies' trousers. They're ever so restrictive, I must say.
Well, because they're not cut for gentlemen's parts.
No, that's right. As a matter of fact, I have to live my life like that bit in Silence of the Lambs where Buffalo Bill pops his ghoulies between his legs. You know, mine are permanently there. But it makes my feminine side feel flourishing.
Well, that's a good thing then.
I think so, yeah.
I think so as well. You know, and where do you buy the ladies' jeans from? You go to a regular ladies' jeans shop?
Yeah, I just go into a ladies' jeans shop, you know, loom around the door, freak people out a little bit. So I've come here to buy some attire, if you don't mind. You know, and dress me up all right nice.
But if they didn't know better, you might be a circus lady. You know, like a lady, like a bearded lady.
Jonathan, this is a remark designed to hurt my feelings.
Not at all. It's a good look.
A bearded lady?
I wish I looked like a bearded lady. You ask my wife. Well, not a week goes by when I don't say, why don't I look more like a bearded lady?
I think that you should work on your marriage then, because trying to incorporate this freakish behaviour would be no good for any of you.
It's a kind of a rock and roll look in a way as well, isn't it?
I suppose so, yes. There's an element of rock and roll about it, ain't there?
And stack heels, it's a great look.
Yeah, it's nice. Thank you for being so kind to me about my physical appearance. But of course, beauty is transient, and one day you and I will both die, Jonathan. There will be naught but dust. Not today, though. Today's going to be lovely. I've got a good feeling about this.
Well, that's taking the wind out of my sails. Now, here's the exciting news, ladies and gentlemen. Big Brother is back on TV next week. If you're a fan of that show, then of course it's an unmissable part of your summer. If you're not, then it no doubt drives you mad. What on earth are you fiddling with, Mr. Brand?
My microphone has come loose. I was preoccupied.
I was worried. I thought that comment earlier about Buffalo Bill, you were trying to pull it tight.
I thought, I'll feel ever so masculine if I can just pull them taut.
Pull them up and connect it to your scarf round the back.
Jonathan! Okay. You must watch films that give you ideas like that, because I don't think your imagination could conjure that.
You'd be amazed. Big Brother is back, starts on Channel 4 next Thursday night, and your show is it's every night on E4, straight after the show, isn't it?
It's on 4 nights a week, Tuesday to Friday, after the main show on Channel 4.
Okay, now, I came to your show sort of by accident, because it used to be, they change it most years, don't they?
I came to yours very deliberately.
I think you know what I mean, though. I didn't even know it was on, necessarily, and I really enjoyed it, and I found your style really made it work for me. It's quite a peculiar show. How would you describe it?
I describe it like it's like Kilroy, but only talking about Big Brother, and there is no racism allowed.
Oh, okay.
We just talk about the show and just go, oh, this has happened within the house, and build it up into hoopla, but don't take it too seriously.
But it seems to be, is it more or less the same crowd of...
John, you're inadvertently giving me the finger.
I didn't mean that.
I'm a sensitive lad.
My subconscious is running wired tonight.
Blimey. Thank God my jeans are this tight. You could wear me like a puppet.
There he is. Cheeky Russell.
I want to do my own voice. If I'm suffering the indignity of your hand in my bottom, at least be able to speak to people.
Maybe just on your back. Can we just have that instead?
I suppose so, yeah.
I'll tickle you when you should open your mouth.
Blimey, that's what my love life's like anyway.
No. Were you, Russell Brand, a fan of Big Brother before they came and offered you this show?
I was not. I did not watch it. I was ever so busy doing other stuff.
Okay, so when you got the job, you were watching it more or less innocently for the first time.
Yeah, I came to it newly, right, and I enjoy it very much. Do you watch it?
I watch it, I like it. I always try and resist it. Every year I say to myself, I'm not going to watch it this year. I'm not going to get sucked in by a bunch of, let's face it, normally quite sad and damaged individuals being forced into difficult circumstances, almost to the verge of a breakdown, sometimes performing unnatural acts with wine bottles in front of the nation.
Alluring, though.
And now I find myself that I've saved it on the Sky Plus and I watch it again and again. Last year, George Galloway doing robotic dancing in a leotard is still one of the single most frightening things I've seen in my life.
It's extraordinary, that, isn't it? That he would do that and then expect to be accepted back into mainstream culture again, and having done it.
And getting even more votes.
I can't imagine. It's a sort of, it becomes a vote for erotica, don't it, if you vote for George Galloway now? Feline erotica. What you're essentially saying is I find cats attractive, sex-wise.
No, that's not what you're saying.
That's what the Respects Party is.
It's the eroticised feline party.
In a manner.
The EFP.
After a fashion.
Do you ever worry, though, Russell, that they're pushing people a bit too far? Because sometimes it does concern me. I think they've got people in there, and then some of them do seem a little fragile, particularly the celebrity bunch they did last time.
I don't worry about that, because I just think it's not my business. I just think this is entertaining, I think. Just watch it as entertainment and try to divorce myself from moral obligation.
Okay.
I save that for my private life.
Okay. Well, Russell's mentioned his private life, and we should talk about this because, man, you have had quite a life, haven't you? Quite an extreme life.
Yeah, I have. I've been alive and that, breathing in and out for ages, right up until now.
But how old are you?
30 years I've been alive.
Okay, you seem to have crammed a lot into those 30s, is what I'm saying. A lot of experience, a lot of
These trousers are like a metaphor, all crammed in with the dirtiest bits tucked round the back.
Let's start, if we may, then, with the knees. Okay, stand-up comedy.
Yes, I like doing that. That's my favourite thing.
That seems to be your favourite thing. I've never seen you actually doing a whole act live, but I've seen some of the stuff on tape, and it struck me as being not only very funny and very inventive, but also it does seem to draw quite directly on your experiences.
Yes, I feel like, you know, when something dead embarrassing and humiliating happens to you, to me it happens all the time. It's a constant, incessant, like my life is just embarrassing incidents strung together by telling people about the embarrassing incidents, really. So if I'm not here talking about them, I'm out there having them. So I might be reluctant to leave at the end, but I might cling to this allegory for authority that you sit behind.
Oh, you saw through that, did you?
Yeah, it represents authority.
Yeah. But, you know, when I say you lived a life, let's talk about something. You know, you had a drug problem for many years, or did you not consider it a problem?
I got a little bit addicted to heroin.
Okay, well, that, I think, on most people's scale, seems pretty much a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, the trouble with heroin is, Jonathan, it's a bit Moorish. Once you start...
Hold it.
It's very difficult.
Why do you say heroin like that?
Heroin? I like to belittle it. I don't recommend it, you know. I've not come on here to endorse heroin, for heaven's sakes. That'd be a terrible message. Not when I've got to push my main message of tuck your ghoulies between your legs. Yeah. That's what I'm here to promote.
Has that replaced heroin in your life, do you think?
I think it has, you know. Yeah. The highs, Jonathan, the lows are terrible, but the highs! When you see it in the mirror and you think, oh, I could be a lady. It's nice.
I'll be honest with you, I've done that quite recently as well.
Have you?
Nothing wrong with that. I might have done it this afternoon.
Well, you may have.
Yeah, after a bath.
Really? After a bath you've done it?
Yeah, well, I don't want to do it before a bath, do I?
That'd be impractical and unhygienic, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Carrying on in that fashion, we live local to each other, don't we?
Do we?
Yeah.
Have you seen me doing it through a window or something?
As a matter of fact, I have. I think I was inspired to do it by you.
And there at night, I thought it was an owl sitting outside. So you can see how I made that simple mistake.
I wish I had the courage to tell you what that hooting was.
All right, but you've lived a lot. As I said, you know, not necessarily things that I would have thought you're particularly proud of sometimes. And you've been arrested quite a few times, haven't you?
I always used to be getting arrested.
Well, how many times have you been arrested, do you think?
I think maybe 11.
OK, well, I've never been arrested once.
Oh, it's ever such a laugh for a while.
I'm sure it is.
But you mustn't take it too seriously.
You see, I think maybe that's where you had problems in the past. It's not taking it too seriously.
Ah, yes.
What was the... let's deal with the lighter side of the police force. What was the silliest thing you think you were arrested
I would have to say, Jonathan Ross, that my daftest arrest would be this one, what I'm about to speak of now, from my face. Right? It's awful, this anecdote, because of the first sentence to it makes people lose sympathy for me.
Okay.
Here is the first
Well,
sentence.
hold on a second then. Let me ask you not to judge too harshly. I don't know what this is going to be yet, so I might want to be the first to judge him harshly. But before he speaks, let's all give him a chance. Okay.
Thank you, Jonathan. So the story begins thusly.
Yes.
I was stealing porn from an all-night garage.
Okay, and they can arrest you for that?
It's a bit draconian, ain't it?
So who caught you? How were you apprehended?
One was, I was looking up at the pornography, and of course I was on drugs, so I can't be held fully culpable for my actions. Okay. I was beneath what I like to call my drug-brella, beneath which I can't be damned. Yeah. The drug-brella protects me from condemnation.
What you're saying is you paid the price for that because the drugs themselves were a mistake.
Them blooming drugs.
Yeah. And you
nearly the ruin of me.
You acknowledge that now, and you are now, we should point out, you are now a clean and sober individual.
3.5 years clean.
Well, congratulations. 3.5 years clean, that's a good thing. Russell, congratulations, I mean that. I know it must have not been easy, I would imagine.
Oh.
So let's go back then. Now we've clarified that you're under the drug-brella. Was it called the
drug-brella?
The drug-brella. Oh, forgive me. Okay.
I was neath its shelter.
Okay, sheltering under the drug-brella.
Yeah, right. I looked up at that pornography and I found it stimulating because it is designed with that in mind. I took the pornography, I stuck it in my jacket like that to conceal it from any eventual authority figures what might want me not to have it for nothing nor nothing. Then I turned round and it was an officer of the law just stood there. He goes, you better put that magazine back.
Well, that's common sense.
Yeah, I took him at his word and immediately placed it back on the shelf. But by now I'd entered into a dynamic that was going but one way, Jonathan, and that way was to the cells. Chokey, I calls it, right? So then, right, he goes, right, stop looking at me, for I were looking at him. And, and I sort of, I took that as that seemed like a challenge to me.
Russell.
I carried on looking.
Russell. How were you looking at him? Were you looking at him in a crazed, druggy kind of way, do you think?
I was looking at him like I wouldn't mind having a bit of a cuddle.
Many of us think that we don't get enough cuddles.
I feel that, and I think the police sometimes need a little bit of a cuddle, and that's why they get so officious.
But he was angry about this cuddle offer.
He was cross. He said, if you didn't stop looking at me in that manner, by the time I count to 5, I'm going to arrest you.
So, he has given you a chance here.
All right, yeah, but the conditions were very narrow and restrictive.
He's given you till 5. I think that's fair enough. He could have said 3.
Well, actually, by 3, he was getting quite agitated.
Well, why so?
And that's just as my striptease were rotting up. That man knows nothing of the narrative of erotic dance. So, what I done, like, he goes, stop looking at me, 1, and I carried on looking at him, and he went 2, I carried on looking at him, he went 3.
3.
We know how this goes, then I went, I love you. And he went, you're nicked. And he all arrested me right up nice and tight with handcuffs, took me in the back of his van, left me in Hampstead Police Station just around the corner, so it was a better class than Nick. And then like thank you very much.
What did you get charged with? Attempted theft of a magazine? What's the charge there?
Because he considers my behaviour to be erratic and abusive, so it's like abusive to a police officer and drunk and disorderly.
Yeah.
I said, I was merely offering you love, officer.
But
I think the crime lies with you.
You couldn't receive your love.
Yeah. If loving all humanity is a crime, you better lock me up and throw away the key.
Yeah. It might have been the smack use, though, that he got to first, I imagine.
Eventually, that was the legal loophole that he got me with.
There's always a loophole, and there are silly drugs. OK, another thing I read about you is that you were a sex addict.
Ooh, blimey, there's an accusation.
Now, is this, you have spoken about this on stage, you have described yourself in these terms?
No, I haven't, because what it is, Jonathan, is you know them girls, yes. Them others, them what's not us.
Hard to resist.
I likes them. That's all it is, it's nothing more complex than that. Sometimes I like a bit of a cuddle or to go out with one on a date, bit of flirting.
But that's a lovely thing.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I like girls ever such a lot.
But do you like them, do you think, more than is perhaps good for you sometimes?
I don't know. What would be too much liking girls?
Well...
Standing outside your window, hooting like an owl, just because you're posing with a pretend vagina. Is that unhealthy?
You know, I so wish I hadn't cut my chest together as well now, because I think that might have tipped you over the edge.
That cemented it. You like a cuddle. You write like birds and that. I know about it.
I love women. I love the look of women. I like the sound of women. I like the shape of women. I like the smell of women. I like the feel of women.
Yeah.
I occasionally like the company of women as well.
Right, so, and imagine that, but you weren't married and didn't have no kids, like what I am. Brilliant.
Now, not only do I see the method in your madness, but I'm slightly depressed. But have you not found someone that you'd want to spend some time with, more than just the brief, casual, electric, dynamic tension and then fulfilment of a one-night stand?
No, I like that last one. All that tension. No, Uma, I'm a little bit in love with her.
Uma's beautiful, isn't she?
Isn't she nice? She's sort of ethereal, isn't she, and magical.
She is a very beautiful woman, and I would have thought about the right height for you, because you're not a short fella.
No, she too looms, didn't we? We could loom together, the two of us, like great redwood trees, and when we died, it would be like they were falling, like that. Someone would shout timber, and that would be like the echo of our final orgasm.
We're back. We're back to the finality of death again with Russell. I get the feeling that's what colour and informs not just your act, but most of your life.
Yeah, it does. The inevitability of death, Jonathan, means we must live every moment as if it were our last, you know, enjoy it a bit.
There's only one thing more inevitable than death, I feel.
What's that?
And that's when your time on that couch comes to an end.
Is it approaching, Jonathan? Am I going back out to the embarrassing place?
It's not an embarrassing place.
The world.
Think of it more as a kind of holding pet, as a more of a resting space.
All right. I'll just go have a little rest.
Russell, what a joy to have you here. I've always
nice
enjoyed you on TV, but you're funnier in the flesh than I had imagined possible. So congratulations on being a very funny and very talented young man.
Thanks for being so nice to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Russell Brand. Russell Brand, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. OK, stunning news from the University of California in Santa Barbara. Their scientists claim that a woman can immediately tell, if a man will be a good dad just by looking at his face. They reckon there's some kind of thing that women have. They're not even aware of themselves. For example, you've just broken the news that you're pregnant, and here's the father. If he looks like this, he'll make a good dad. Okay? If he looks like this, he may need a little time to get used to the idea. And if he looks like this, call the child support agency immediately. As I mentioned earlier, there's been a huge fuss in the press about Sven-Göran Eriksson's decision to pick Theo Walcott for the England squad. It's been all in the papers. Now, personally, I'm far more shocked by the decision to drop Rio Ferdinand in favour of this man. The lead singer of Boney M. One of the Rivers of Babylon, that is Rio. That's quite some look, isn't it? Eh? Actually, maybe he's related to Russell. Shall we bring out my final guest, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Sir Ian McKellen.
It's a cabaret show. Only a cabaret show.
Sir Ian McKellen, ladies and gentlemen. Long may he wane o'er us. Ian, great to have you here again. Thank you so much for coming back on the show.
Well, thank you very much.
I'm a huge fan of yours. I hope you know that.
Thank you.
And what a busy man as well. You've got 2 new movies out this year, out this month.
I know.
And 2 of the biggest films I would have thought they're going to be of the year. It's going to be the new X-Men movie, X-Men 3, which is coming out any day now, and in the Da Vinci Code as well. Wow, that's quite something to pull that up.
I've had the most wonderful year. I mean, it started last May when I did 10 episodes of Coronation Street.
Of course, now you were fabulous in that. Wasn't he great in Coronation Street? You know, and I don't always watch the show, but I was watching every week, and what a great character, and it was, and the show's a funny, well-made show always anyway.
Absolutely brilliant. I mean, it's driven by the writers who are fantastic. I had 10 episodes, each written by a different writer. You couldn't tell. It was fantastic. The company were wonderful. I broke 3 chairs in Emily's front room.
Now, you see, I think that's a bit unkind of you, though. Not the chair breaking, but to do something like that and then to go away and not come back into the show. And people want to see you back there, so I'm hoping that you will have a return
Well,
visit.
the trouble with my character was he was a con man, and he was rather thrown out of Weatherfield, so how they could get him back in, I'm not sure. My idea was that having failed to do his dirty deeds in Weatherfield, raising money, the camera should be idly crossing the crowd in the Queen Vic, and there in the corner is Mel Hutchwright doing his dirty dealings down in EastEnders, and then we could go to Grange Hill, we could go on Emmerdale, a lot.
Shouldn't you be slowing down at your age, though? Because I would have thought, you know, I know you're a grafter and you love working, but that must be, I would have thought, quite a punishing workload.
Well, I mean, people tend to think actors go on and on and on, like John Gielgud did until the mid-90s, complaining that there was no work for him and that sort of thing. Actors do actually retire. There are very distinguished actors who you don't see very much of because, frankly, they've stopped. Yeah. And it does, when you get the bus pass and everything else and the pension, then you think, well, I see this is the time and I could stop if I wanted to. And then the attraction of not working does loom rather large. So I'm not going to work now for the rest of the year, and I can do that at 65. I'm 67 now, so I'm allowed to.
That's one of the signs you're losing it, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I know. The other sign is that you come out with any socks.
Wow.
Any socks.
Not only not wearing socks, also wearing some sort of a rubber clog.
I know. I won't bring it towards you.
Can I just say, so Ian, you're dressed even more strangely than Russell Brand, and I never thought I could possibly say that to anyone.
I wish we had some photographs of me playing Hamlet in the 1970s. I looked exactly like Russell.
Oh, well, he's a good-looking young man, isn't he?
Very good-looking, and I love the eye makeup.
Yeah. Even I'm interested.
Do you want to know? Do you want to know the story of the clog?
Okay.
At the end of the first X-Men movie, you'll remember, yes. Magneto, the master of magnetism, who can control any metal, is captured in a plastic prison. Yeah. There can be nothing metal, otherwise he could escape. So I was given a pair of plastic shoes, and in fact, this was the shoe, but it was white. Okay.
Yes.
We come to do the second movie, which starts with me still in that uniform, and they provided me with the wrong shoe, and I said, I know it's the wrong shoe because I kept Magneto's white shoes and I took them out of my suitcase and showed them. They were so grateful that they said you can order the whole line of colours. I've got these in metallic blue, I've got them in red, I've got them in baby blue, I've got them in white, of course, and rather fashionable black, which goes with anything.
May I say, you certainly know how to live. He's got clogs in every colour. That's quite something. And they're comfy, no doubt.
I love it when you get things for free. I love getting things for free.
But isn't it funny?
Give everybody the bus pass and that'll solve the traffic problem because everyone will want to go and get a free A free journey, something for free.
Do you use your bus pass then? You
All
go
the
on.
time.
You use
I don't
the
go on the bus, I
public
go on the
transport?
tube.
Yeah, I prefer buses to the tube. I like the view.
Oh, it is nice, that's true, yes.
Do you like the bendy buses? Have you been on the bendy buses yet here in
I've
London?
not been on the bendy buses, and I would prefer the old route masters, but...
So would I.
Yeah. I
Well,
don't know
why
what was
don't
wrong
we-
with that. It was nice up there, wasn't
Let's
it?
get together, put our weight
Yeah.
behind it,
Yeah.
and try and bring back the old buses.
Go on, you go on. You have a cab all the time, don't you?
Of course I don't go on buses. I'm not saying I'll go on them.
Oh, you want to own one?
Yes, I want to own the whole fleet and make a bit of extra money because I'm not doing that well. Now, here's the thing. Da Vinci Code is going to be one of the biggest movies I would have thought. It's a film everyone's going to want to go and see. Have you seen the finished product
I've
yet?
seen enough of it to report it is a good film,
Good.
but I've not seen it all. I've just seen a few of my bits cut together, and he's made what is essentially not a very exciting premise for a screenplay into a very exciting film, because if you've read the book, it is very wordy, it's very theoretical, it's people sitting around arguing and discussing and theorizing, and it's in that there is some excitement of the revelations and so on. Well, now there are adventure scenes as well. There are thrilling chases and so on, but actually when you get down to it, the most important scenes that work so well in the book are ones when people just sit around a kitchen table and talk about the Holy Grail and where it is and what it is and does it still exist. But Ron Howard has cut it in such a way that you'd think these academic, theoretical discussions are the most exciting thing you've ever heard. So yeah, it's a talkie, and it's a thriller, so I think it's a very good mix.
Well, the trailer I've seen of it looks fantastic, and you couldn't have a better cast with you. Audrey Tautou, who's a beautiful and talented young... Tautou.
Not tattoo. Tautou.
Okay, let's do that again and get this right. There's a fabulous cast working with you in the film. Audrey Tautou and Tom Hanks. Well, we're going to have a little taster for you now of the Da Vinci Code.
The Priory's members span our very globe itself.
Philippe, the shearers say exposed that as a hoax in 1967.
And that is what they want you to believe. The Priory is charged with a single task, to protect the greatest secret in modern history.
The source of God's power on earth.
Oh, no, that's a common misunderstanding. The Priory protects the source of the Church's power on earth. The Holy Grail.
I don't understand. What power? Some magic dishes?
Robert, has he been telling you that the Holy Grail is a cup?
So this is because I didn't read the book, and I kind of got a mixed response from my friends. Some people loved it, and some people thought it was dreadful, and it kind of really seemed to divide people. But obviously, there's no doubting that it was one of the biggest hits, I mean, probably in the history of literature, modern literature.
Well, it's the conspiracy theory of all time that the Catholic Church has been lying to us all these years, and that they've just made up a religion is basically what's being... That's the accusation thrown at the Church.
Yeah.
They've chosen on the whole to disregard it because they would say it's so ludicrous, and certainly there's an awful lot of the book and therefore the film which is clearly fictional.
Of course.
But I would say that if you read the book and you see the movie, you will say the author Dan Brown is dealing with truths that institutions that are as old as the Catholic Church are likely over the centuries to have changed their attitudes, even though at the same time they're pretending that they've always believed in the same thing. That's the truth that's being challenged. The facts that are used to support this are a little bit dodgy.
Well, I guess for a drama to work and a modern film, you need it to be exciting in some way. We chatted a little bit earlier about the aging process and the fact that you're an actor of certain years. Okay. How are you finding getting older? Are you getting grumpier? Because that's the fear I have, that I am indeed getting grumpier. Do you find yourself heading that way?
Definitely. I think I've always been grumpy. I've always complained, but I think as you get older, you feel you've got a license to be grumpy.
Yeah.
And I was with a new friend of mine who is also now, I suppose, an old friend, Richard Wilson, who everybody knows is the grumpy old man from One Foot in the Grave, and he's not like that at all. And we were having a little break over Easter, staying in a hotel, both relaxing, and he after breakfast he said, "Ian, I've just got to say one thing to you. I think really you should stop being so grumpy." So I made a little pact with him. I said, "Yeah, I'm going to be nice to everybody from now on." And do you know what? It works.
And you felt better about that?
I do feel better about life. I see things I don't like, I just keep them to myself, and I smile, and
a great philosophy to have, though.
Thank you, Richard Wilson.
What kind of ambitions do you have left? Do you have ambitions as such? There are things that you like to check off. I mean, I know being in Coronation Street was one, and you achieved that, of course, with great style.
Well, I'm going to play King Lear, and that's a sort of Everest in a Himalayan landscape of Shakespeare. So, but that's not something I've always wanted to do, or I'm longing to do. Stand-up.
Stand-up comedy?
Well, I've done stand-up. I've had my own one-man show, which is stand-up, and there were a lot of laughs in it. I wouldn't mind being a chat show host.
Well, the chat show host I don't think you're up to, but stand-up, I'm sure. Russell, get up, you ladies. Look at that. Get up. I'm going to count to 5, and if you're not up, we're arresting you. Disrespectful young
And he was
owl.
being so nice to me in person.
Yeah, well, he's a lovely fella. He's just lazy. Let's talk about X-Men 3, because I make no secret of the fact that I'm a big comic book fan, always have been. And when they make a comic book into a film and they get it right, it's a particular joy for me. The X-Men movies are very fine examples of that, just about the best. X-Men 1 was great, X-Men 2, just as good, I felt. X-Men 3, which I've seen and you haven't seen yet.
No, I haven't.
I loved it. It's got some fantastic action in it.
Good, yes.
Brilliant story. And as always, I think Magneto and Charles Xavier, played by Patrick Stewart, together, they steal the film, pretty much.
Well, that's great, because they are the two pillars of opposing attitudes of what you do about your mutancy. And I think why it's been possible for there to be 3 good movies based on the X-Men comics is that the comics are about something. There's something important. There's a problem being dealt with. It's fantastically exciting, it's funny, and it's stylish. But actually what's being argued about is, what do you do if you are in the minority within a society that makes you feel that you're too different to be tolerated, and mutancy is an extreme example of that. And the people who read the comics, I'm told by Marvel, their demographic is young Jews, young blacks, and young gays. People who get the finger pointed at them by the rest of society.
Or maybe just young Jewish black homosexuals, perhaps,
well, thank God there are a
buy
lot of
3 copies.
Just tell me this, you've seen the movie, can you remember, is Magneto playing chess?
Well, okay. You want to know whether they're leaving it open for a sequel? Yes, they are.
Good.
Okay. There you go. But you can't. You've got to take the rest of the year off.
And
you promised yourself.
What was Magneto's...
Hang on, go and see the film. Don't piggyback on my experience.
But what's the first scene between Magneto and Professor Xavier like? Don't we look pretty good?
Okay. Here's the thing.
Don't we look pretty good?
So Ian is showing off, because in the beginning of the movie it starts with a clip saying 20 years ago.
25 years.
25. All right. Okay. Actually, they've changed it to 20. You didn't quite look that good. They told you 25. They looked at the Russians and thought we won't get away with that. Isn't that Mel from Coronation Street? Let's have a look. This is Ian and Patrick Stewart, looking younger perhaps than you remember them.
It's very rude, you know, to read my thoughts or Mr. Lench's without our permission.
Did you think you were the only one of your kind, young lady?
We're mutants, Jean. We are like you.
Really? I doubt that.
Oh, Charles. I like this one.
It's a great film. I really enjoyed it. You don't need to do that. That opens here in the UK on the 25th of May, I believe. It's coming up pretty soon. You know, one thing I was curious about is when you're acting a movie, this is going to sound like a silly question, of course partly it is a silly question, but is it harder acting in a helmet?
It is, because you can't hear a word.
And you presumably don't have the full range of vision,
and you can't see very well, and you know you look absolutely stupid.
But you can pull it off.
You can pull it off if you can.
No, I mean you can pull off the acting in the helmet. Are there any kind of physical challenges in the Da Vinci Code we should know about?
Yes, he doesn't have the use of either of his legs.
Christ.
Did you remember?
I haven't read it. How would I know?
Oh, you've not seen it? Ah. Oh, no. Ooh. He's what we used to call a cripple.
And we stopped with good reason. But we'll forgive you till you advance years.
He's on. It was funny because.
Hold on, what's he on? He's on a giant ball or something. Is he like a monkey bear? He's like a circus animal.
It's not unlike that. But anyway, we had a little bit of rehearsal, and so me and Tom and Audrey, and I came in with a couple of sticks to just sort of practice my little walk around. Well, the look on Tom's face, my God, am I going to have to act with this? I'm going to have a chance. I said, it's going to be all right, Tom, because I do go up and down a little bit, so often I won't even be in your shot. I'll be down there. And suddenly I'll just pop back into it.
If you've just tuned in, by the way, that wasn't a relationship going on. So, Ian, it's such a pleasure to spend time with you.
Thank you.
I know you said you thought you were getting grumpy. I've seen no evidence of it, and I can't imagine you in a grumpy mood.
No, I won't be.
Well, what a lovely way to live your life. Please continue success both on the screen and on the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, I think you'll agree he's a charming man to spend some time with, Sir Ian McKellen. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I think so. Thank you. Sir Ian McKellen, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks to all my guests on tonight's show, of course, the wonderful Sir Ian McKellen, the beautiful Uma Thurman, and of course the incredibly funny Russell Brand. Next week I'm joined by actor Paul Bettany. We have the Godfather Terry Venables here, the great William Shatner, and Mr. Robbie Williams will be on the couch chatting with me. Plus we have live music from not just the Yeah Yeahs, but also Morrissey will be back on the show. But now with the superb track You and I, it is Graham Coxon.
You and I gotta think for a while, look to the sky, gotta decide if we're gonna see tomorrow. You and I gotta look to the sky, we're gonna die, wondering why life ain't nothing but sorrow. Cause it's gonna be a while till I get to see you smile. And you gotta let me know, or maybe you won't. For a while into the sky, gotta decide if we're gonna see tomorrow. You and I gotta look to the sky, we're gonna die, wondering why life ain't nothing but sorrow. Cause it's gonna be a while till I get to see you smile. And you gotta let me know, oh baby, don't go. The sky, gotta decide if we're gonna see tomorrow. You and I gotta think for a while, look to the sky, gotta decide if we're gonna see tomorrow. You and I gotta think for a while, look to the sky, gotta decide if we're gonna see tomorrow. You and I gotta think for a while, look to the sky, gotta decide if we're gonna see tomorrow. Cause it's gonna be a while till I get to see you smile. And you gotta let me know, oh baby. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la.
Graham Coxon, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching. See you next week.